Welcome back, Kings and Ducks fan, to Royally Quacked. Before we get started, we just want to apologize about the last podcast because no matter what our editor, producer, director Cody could do, we could not get the echo out of it. So we apologize. If you guys persevered through that, you are truly our fans. And we'll try never to let that happen again. We figured out what the problem was. It's now solved. Yeah, it was on my end. So you guys can blame the crazy king guy, Anyways, we're going to start off today with Cody and Duck News. Take it away, Cody.
Sorry, guys, about that last week. You know how it is dealing with parents and technology. But yeah, I'm starting off hot.
Oh, God.
But guys, also, this is episode 20. So thank you guys for listening to us all the way to episode 20. And also, I want to say thank you, everyone. We hit 500 downloads this last week. I would have posted something, but work was very hectic this last week. I was training and I was working 14-hour days and pretty much driving almost pretty much nonstop. So sorry about that, but thank you guys so much for 500 downloads and help us get to 1,000 even faster.
Way faster. Let's do it.
Way fast.
Come on, fans. We believe in you.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it. I mean, we're getting people from everywhere, not just in California. We're getting people from Arizona, Germany, Australia. I think we got someone from Sweden from what I last saw.
I think that might have been Adrian Kempe.
Oh, maybe. Or it could have been Lundestrom or what's his name? Carlson. Yeah. I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that. But
what's his name?
What's his name?
You heard it here first, Leo. You're what's his name?
I'm a little tired. All right. Sorry. We're going to go with Ducks news. All right. So the Ducks have promoted, I'm sorry, I'm going to probably butcher this guy's name, Sudarshan Mahara to director of goaltending. He was the goalie coach, and he had I can't remember what kind of cancer he had, but he just fought it off. So they promoted him to director of goaltending. And in addition, the club has named Tim Army as the other assistant coach. And then here's a familiar name, Dad, for you. Peter Budaj will be Anaheim's new goaltending coach.
Yeah, Budaj, man.
I remember that.
Saved our butts that year. He
did.
He was really actually very good as a AHL goalkeeper. Came in and he turned heads.
Yeah, he definitely
congratulations.
did. I just remember. I love the name Budaj.
I do too. We're not going to play with that right now, though.
Nope. This is a family-friendly podcast, Dad. Okay, let's keep it family-friendly. PG.
Yeah. Not PB for Peter Budaj. Sorry.
Anyways, the Ducks also evaluated Julian Tremblay to NHL player development. The hirings complete Anaheim's 2024-2025 coaching staff, which includes your head coach, Greg Cronin, assistant coaches, Tim Army, Richard Clune, and Brent Thompson. That's also Tage Thompson's dad. And then the goaltending coach will be Peter Budaj and video coordinator Austin Violet.
Oh, can you see a possible eventuality that Tage Thompson could become an Anaheim Duck?
Well, he does have a long-term deal with Buffalo, so that would probably take a lot to get him out.
That doesn't mean a trade couldn't happen. I'm just going to throw that. Hey, there's a little bit of stuff to think about, people.
Yeah.
Hire dad, and maybe the son will follow.
That's true. I mean, that's kind of like what the Ducks did with the Niedermeyers. They had Rob, and then boom, you get Scott.
Luke, hire McDavid's dad.
Hire McDavid's dad. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Anyways, the National Hockey League announced the complete regular season schedule. The Ducks will begin with the regular season with consecutive road games beginning on Saturday, October 12th at San Jose at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. followed by a matchup against the Vegas Golden Knights on Sunday. So literally the very next day, at 7 p.m. in Vegas against the Vegas Golden Knights. The season opening back-to-back marks the 12th time in franchise history Anaheim will begin a season with a back-to-back. Prior 11 includes 3 international, 8 in North America. The club's home opener is slated for Wednesday, August 16th versus the Utah Hockey Club. And that one will also be at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the regular season Honda Center debut of the new club's primary uniforms, which I am excited to see. So,
Yeah. Orange Country, right?
Orange Country, let's fly. All right. And that we're going to keep it short and sweet
Is
with
that it,
Ducks
Cody?
news. That was it.
Yeah. Well, I have even less Kings news, but I have some interesting things here. According to NHLtrade.com, the Kings are interested in acquiring goalie Yaroslav Askarov from the Nashville Predators. As you already know, they signed UC Saros to an 8-year contract for like 7.75 AAV, I believe.
Extension. That doesn't
Okay,
start
so
till next season.
So he's got 9 more years to play.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the caveat to this, Kings fans. Sounds like their asking price is Brandt Clark. So, big question for you. This is Kings fans. I want you to Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, get a hold of us and let us know what you think about this and what would you do? Would you trade Brandt Clark straight up for Yaroslav Askarov? He's like the probably most ready young goalkeeper to come up.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's thinking highly. He's it's a high price. That's a high price. Brandt Clark is expected to be not just a defenseman. He's expected to be at least a star, maybe not a superstar, but at least a star. So I don't know. I'm thinking about that one. So I'm saying no. I probably wouldn't make that move. So that's me. What do you think? Now,
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'm not going to give you as much detail, but the regular season schedule has come out. But guess what? The Kings begin with 7 straight games away from Crypto.com.
Staples Center.
Thank you, Cody. I was going to just say that, but you beat me to it. Anyways, and part of that is to the renovations that are going on at Crypto.com is pretty much what we've been told.
Oh, so they're renovating it?
Doesn't.
Is that what they're doing?
They've been renovating it.
Oh, okay.
They've been doing extra things, like we heard at the Flock Party about the, in-arena enhancements they talked about. I think Crypto.com's going through that same thing, although I haven't heard all the details like we got at that Flock Party. So, another thing, Luke, give us more details on what's going on with that so we could get excited about it as Kings fans, because obviously the Ducks have, they've laid a little caveat out there, a little tidbit for people to grab on, and they're going to probably want to go see some games. So let's get some Kings fans out at Staples Center. Crypto.com. Sorry, I know it's Crypto.com.
Nope, Staples Center.
Anyways, but the home opener isn't until October 24th against the San Jose Sharks and Macklin Celebrini, and I mean they did some serious upgrades for San Jose. They should be
tougher.
Yeah, not at the bottom. Maybe. I mean, it's a tough division. It's a tough division,
league.
So. Well, yeah, but yeah, that's true. It's pretty much tough everywhere. There's very few easy marks anymore. I mean, even last year, San Jose beat the Kings. They beat the Ducks.
Nope.
So
I believe we swept. We swept the Sharks last year. The Sharks didn't beat us.
You believe? Well,
no,
I believing and knowing's two different things, Mr. Spink. So make sure your facts are straight before you say it.
The only Mr. Spink is the one that just said it. You, not
okay,
me.
Kid.
There you go.
Punk kid.
Hey, it's Mr. Quacky Kid to you.
It's not quacky kid, it's quacky boy.
Kid, get it right.
When you grow up, you can speak to a man like me, okay?
I'm taller than you.
That means nothing, and you know it.
Okay,
so,
continue.
There, a new aspect now. If we can, there's going to be an intro to this. If it doesn't happen this time, if you hear it before this comes on, we were able to get it done. But I have a new thing that I'm going to do, not probably every podcast, and it's called Royal Rant. And a friend of mine thinks we need to have a rant once in a while. And he gave me a name, and I didn't quite pick his name. He wanted to be Lord Gary. Sorry, Eric, I'm going to go with Grand Duke Gary. I'm presiding on the Royal Rant today, and my Royal Rant is about Rob Blake gambling with his job. Okay, Kings fans, we lost Arvidsson, we lost Grunstrom, we lost Lizotte, we lost Roy, we lost Dubois. Do we look better than last year? And
Nope.
The reason I say gambling, what have we replaced it with? Okay, Warren Vogel, Tanner Jeannot, we got Alex Turcotte, Joel Edmondson, and Akil Thomas, and maybe Samuel Fagemo. I got to stop doing that, don't I? I'm just going to go with what I want to say, Fagemo.
Adam.
Sorry, Adam.
You ruined this.
You can shoot me if you want. Anyways, so Rob's gambling with his job. I mean, I think his contract's up. And typically the owners of the Kings, they'll give a GM about 8 or 9 years to make it or break it. Well, he's about right there right now. So is he going to break it? So I did a little research. So do I think he's totally gambling with this? Well, that is a big possibility, because what we don't know is how everybody will perform in a new season, right? We don't know. So this is what we lost. Arvidsson, 6 goals, 9 assists. Grunstrom, 3 goals, 2 assists. Lizotte, 7 goals, 8 assists. Matt Roy, 5 goals, 20 assists, 197 blocks or hits, and then 152 blocks. Those might be reversed. And Dubois had 16 goals and 24 assists. So what we lost is 37 goals, 63 assists. Now, let's go what we picked up. Warren Vogel, 20 goals, 21 assists. And he did play a little bit with Draisaitl, but he didn't play the whole season, with a superstar. But he did play some with a superstar. Tanner Jeannot had 7 goals, 7 assists. Turcotte in the NHL, 1 goal, 3 assists. Edmondson had 1 goal, 5 assists, 59, I think it's hits, and then 49 blocks. And then Akil Thomas, 3 goals, 4 assists. So when I add up what we lost 37 goals, 63 assists, 197 hits, and 152 blocks. And we gained back 32 goals, 40 assists, 59 hits, and 49 blocks. So we need to make up 5 goals. Do you think if Turcotte plays the whole season and Thomas plays the whole season, right there, we won't pick up those 5 goals that we lost last year? I mean, obviously up on the top, what we lost, Arvidsson only played in about 18 games, and Grunstrom didn't play every game. Lizotte was hurt. Roy played most of the season, and so did Dubois. So good chance we could pick up the goals and even the assists. Now, the blocks and the hits, I'm not sure that we're going to pick that up with Edmondson, but we also have Clark. Clark could score 10, 12, 14 goals next year and make up the whole difference on this. So there is a possibility that, Blake isn't totally quacky like Cody is. It's a possibility. He's not quacky. These guys could play. I mean, he signed Vogel to a 3-year contract for $10.5 million. Now, I think he really kind of overpaid for Edmondson, but then, he's a solid defensive defenseman, not a much of an offensive defenseman, but, if you're going to have Clark there and then you have Spencer in the second year, you have two guys on the, in fact, all three right-handed defensemen are offensive defensemen. And we were blessed to have Doughty who he does it from both sides. So, anyways, what do you guys think? Do you think Rob's gambling? A lot of people are very upset. They thought we didn't make big enough splash. I mean, Edmonton picks up Arvidsson. San Jose picks up, can't think of his name now, the ex-King. Cody, help me with that one.
What's that?
Toffoli.
Oh.
San Jose picks up Toffoli. I mean, we did not pick up anything huge. So we're hoping that the young guys coming up and Fogle and Jeannot pick it up and Edmondson does what he does. So my rant is, Rob Blake, will you be here next year when we do this podcast, or we'll have a new general manager? You are gambling with your job. All right, Cody, where do you want to go next?
All right. So since we had a very busy free agency on July 1st and everything, we're going to break it up into halves. We're going to do the East Coast this episode, and then the next episode we'll do the West Coast. And then at the end of this, after we finish the free agent updates from the East Coast, then I'll go over the Cody versus Gary all NHL team. And everyone can tell us who, or I could finally tell everyone who won, who was the cons. So, all right, I'll start off. We're going to start off with the Atlantic Division. We're going to go with Boston. All right. Boston. So Elias Lindholm secured a 7-year, $54.25 million contract. So I believe that was like 7.75 a year. So about time they needed a top center, so that's their guy. He's been linked to go there for the last year or so. The next move they made is Nikita Zadorov, who also was with Vancouver last season. Agreed terms on a 6-year, $30 million contract. And then Ducks fans were sorry to see this man go. Max Jones signed a 2-year, $2 million contract. And by the way, when we were doing this, I'm only doing like first team moves, not 2-way contracts, because this would have added like twice as much stuff. So, and we would like to fit everything within an hour 15, if you know what I mean. So you guys aren't listening to us talk for 3 hours.
I do see you have one guy on a 2-way contract in here.
Oh, well, look at that. I could just delete that right there. Okay. Oh, cool. It's one less thing I got to talk about. Updating notes as we're going. I love it. All right. Next move was Miley Tuft signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract, and Boston still has $8.6 million in cap space available. So they still got room to do a couple a move or two, or they can just keep that and hopefully have that for the trade deadline.
Yeah. Well, right. Yeah, they had losses.
They lost DeBrusque. They traded away Olmark, but they also got Korpisalo back as a backup.
Got him back. Was he
got him back in the trade. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I get it. Never mind. All right, now on to Buffalo. Buffalo signed Sam Lafferty to a 2-year, $4 million contract. He's a good player. Jason Zucker signed a 1-year, $5 million contract. Good player. Nicholas Ube-Kubel signed a 1-year, $1.5 million contract. Jacob Bryson signed a 1-year, $900,000 contract. Dennis Gilbert signed a 1-year, $825,000 contract. And James Reimer inked a 1-year, $1 million contract. That's their backup if Corpusalo doesn't make it.
No, this is Buffalo, Dad.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
That's their third string, technically.
Yeah, so Reamer will still be third string, right?
Yeah, because Buffalo said reported that they're going with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and then Devin Levi is the backup, and then James Reimer will probably be that third.
Okay. And then this was a trade. The
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers acquired Matthew Savoy from Buffalo Sabres for Ryan McLeod and Tyler Tullio. I think they got robbed on that one.
Buffalo?
Savoy, yeah. I think Savoy's he's supposed to be a player.
He was picked.
A lot of people.
He was picked 9th overall in the 2022 draft. He was the pick.
Yeah.
I want to say just before the Ducks picked Pavel Minchikov.
Well, there are a bunch of people on Facebook, because I got a lot of hockey stuff on my Facebook. They did not like that trade, especially the Kings fans did not like that trade. And then, oh my God, Henry Jokaharu signed a 1-year, $3.1 million contract. And one thing I hate about hockey is some of these names are like hard to say. And, here's a great news for Buffalo Sabre fans. They have $14,549,484 in cap space available.
Wow, you went to the exact dollar. I just went 8.6. I just want to keep it short.
Hey, if you're gonna do it, be accurate as best you can.
It's true. All right. Next is Detroit. The San Jose Sharks acquired Jake Woolman and a 2024 second-round pick, which ended up being number 53 overall from Detroit for future considerations. So this move happened before free agency, but I thought it was important just because it was a big salary dump for Detroit. So I believe they knocked off $3 or $4 million a year from that from Jake Woolman, and then so I thought that was important. And then the Detroit acquired Jesse Kizikinen. Yeah,
Wow.
Anyways, Kizikin and a 2024 second round pick.
Number 53. That's the same one they got from Detroit.
That was the same one that they just traded in exchange for Andrew Gibson. I just now realized that they made that exact same trade. All right, next. Patrick Kane signed a 1-year, $6.5 million deal to stay in Detroit. Cam Talbot signed a 2-year, $5 million contract.
Wow. What do you think about that?
Him getting a 2-year, $2.5 million a year?
We're talking ex-King now.
Yeah.
Just for a second. I mean, obviously, the Kings didn't want to pay him $2.5 million a year. I mean, he played well last year for the Kings, but they were second or third best defensive team in hockey. Where was Detroit in that aspect?
I know they they struggled because I know Husso I think got hurt and then he struggled I think coming back, and then so they had to rely on Reimer and Alex Lyon, which Alex Lyon was big for them last year.
Yeah, wouldn't you consider him to be the number one?
I don't know if he's still there or not. I'll have to double check.
Oh, right, he was a free agent. Has he signed?
From what I've seen, I haven't seen him sign.
We'll look about that later. Let's move on.
All right, next. Former Duck, of course not for long, William Lagesson signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract. Eric Gustafson signed a 2-year, $4 million contract. Former King Jack the Soup Campbell signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract. Christian Fisher signed a 1-year, $1.125 million contract. Tyler Mott signed a 1-year, $800,000 contract. And then here's I'm gonna do the other signing before I do that trade. Vladimir Tarasenko signed a 2-year, $9.5 million contract. And then the trade was the Detroit Red Wings acquired Gage Alexander from the Anaheim Ducks for Robbie Fabry and a 2025 conditional 4th-round pick. And I believe the condition is the Ducks get the higher of the 4th-round pick. It's between either Detroit's or another team that they have for that 4th-round pick. So they get the higher or the
Another.
Yeah, but it's a younger guy, and
Yeah, but they're like packing them away like it's a commodity. What, Talbot?
Campbell. Well, think about
Campbell?
Talbot's 2 years. Campbell's 1 year. Gage Alexander he probably won't be up till another 2 or 3 or more years.
Yeah, goalies.
He struggled.
They take time to stew.
Yeah, he struggled with
they're not
the
quick,
Ducks
as quick to come up.
or with the goals last year. So I think he's honestly like whatchamacallit? He was like 5th on the depth chart or lower. I think you're frozen too. On mine. All right.
Oh,
good?
was I? Okay.
You were frozen on mine. Anyways.
Okay.
So yeah, Gage Alexander, the goalie prospect that used to be in the Duck system, he was like 5th or 6th on the depth chart for goalies.
So they actually ended up getting somebody that might help them right away for somebody that might not even play for them for a while.
If you think about it, I think Gage Alexander was a 4th or 5th round pick, and we got a player and a 4th round pick for him. And if the Ducks, continue to struggle, which we pray they don't, but Robbie Fabry's also on an expiring deal. He only has 1 year left, so that he'll be a free agent after next year, so he could be a trade piece. And we could also probably get a draft pick back for him, maybe. So, all for Gage Alexander. So, and the Detroit Red Wings still have $19.9 million in cap space available.
On to Florida. Florida signed Sam Reinhart to an 8-year contract extension. Overall value $69 million.
What a great number!
Yeah, he's a stud.
He is a stud.
I say if I'm a hockey fan and I definitely like the Florida Panthers, I would be very, very happy with that move.
I agree.
Anyways, next up, Dmitry Kulikov penned a 4-year, $4.6 million contract. And Tomas Nozick signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract. A.J. Greer signed a 2-year, $1.7 million contract. Now, a lot of these guys, so you hear the smaller amounts, they're probably guys who possibly could play up because of their cap space, but also someone they might send back down to their lower level pro teams.
Yeah.
So Jesper Boquist signed a 1-year deal. I have no amount of money on that one.
On Puckpedia, some of the players didn't have the things on there, so this is all this is straight off of Puckpedia, since Cap Friendly's no longer here.
Chris Dreger, he's a goalie, right? Signed a 1-year contract.
He was in Florida to start with, and then he got taken by Seattle in the expansion draft.
Right.
So he's just going back to Florida.
Nate Schmidt signed a 1-year contract. Anton Lundell, you heard that name a lot during the Stanley Cup final games. Signed a 6-year contract for $30 million or a $5 million AAV.
That is a great deal.
Oh, and they got Adam Boquist signed to a 1-year contract. So they got 2 Boquists.
Yeah, they're brothers.
Oh, are they brothers?
They are brothers.
Oh.
I think this is like I think they said the 3rd time Florida's had brothers play on the same team, because they had the Stahl brothers not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I forgot who the other one was, but they had another pair before.
Was it the Bures?
It could have been.
Just throw that out there. And they're the Panthers don't have much money left. Although, if they'd like to send me the check for this, I would be more than happy to take it. $766,666. Although I hate that number, but I'd still cash the check. Think about that, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be helping out a podcaster.
That would be nice. All right, on to Montreal. The Montreal Canadiens acquired a 2026 fourth-round pick for Jonathan Kovacevic, and he was sent to New Jersey. So just a little minor trade there. And then Alex Barré-Bouillet signed a 1-year contract. And then Yuri Slavkovsky signed an 8-year, $60.8 million contract extension.
He was the number 1 pick a few years ago, wasn't he?
He was. That was the supposed Shane Wright.
Yeah.
So
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, and Montreal still has $10.2 million in cap space available. So they still got some moves to do.
Okay. I guess we're going to go on to Ottawa. And Ottawa traded Jacob Chikrin to the Washington Capitals for Nick Jensen and a 2026 third-round pick. Does that seem like not enough?
Ottawa's not very good at getting back what they traded for certain players. They lost the DeBrincat trade both times, and they lost this Chikrin trade.
I mean, because Chikrin there was like major fire that the Kings were going to pick him up. Now, I would have loved that because he would have been a lefty offensive defenseman. All right, so on to Noah Gregor, signed a 1-year, $850,000 contract. Thank you for not making all the sixes in that one. David Perron, he's been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
Signed a 2-year, $8 million contract. He's one of those pesky guys you don't want to play against. I mean, and former King signed, Michael Amadio signed a 3-year, $7.8 million contract. Michael Amadio was with the Vegas Golden Knights. Never did amount to much with the Kings. Never could really break in, but that's back when the Kings were, still right after the Stanley Cup wins. Obviously, he turned into a good NHL player. The St. Louis Blues acquired Matthew Joseph and a 2025 third-round pick from Ottawa Senators for future considerations.
Also known as salary dump.
Yeah. And then bad boy Shane Pinto.
Shane
Pinto.
Shan.
I was thinking of a Shane Pinto.
Shane Pinto.
Yeah. Signed a 2-year, $7.5 million contract. And if you didn't know what happened, supposedly he had somebody use him to bet. And he got
half a year. Half a
season.
Half a year
suspension because of it.
41 games.
Yeah. And boy, here are the Ottawa Senators again. They acquire Jan Jenik from the Utah Hockey Club for Igor Sokolov. And then Jenik, is it Jenik or Jenik?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
One of the two?
One of the two.
In a 1-year, 2-way contract. If you're not getting anything, get some laughs out of my pronunciations of some of these players. I mean, hockey is one of the hardest ones. You never hear Jan Jenik now batting for the Angels, Jan Jenik or Jenik. You don't hear stuff like that in other sports. So,
go ahead.
Well, let me finish Ottawa, and then you can have your say.
Yeah.
They still have slightly over $1.9 million in cap space available. Go ahead. Now you can say what you want to say.
So, you guys know how my dad likes to say Fagimo or Fagimo multiple times is because Adam Broll, one of our close buddies, he was the one that told us about it, and he said he loves trying to hear my dad say some of the names. I'm like, you should just have I should just randomly come up with a segment where I just come up with the hardest names to pronounce in the NHL and just have you just try to say it.
So what you want to do is have everybody laugh with me, not at me, I hope.
No, it's at you.
No, at you.
It's at you. All right. Tampa Bay. All right. The Tampa Bay Lightning acquired Jake Gensel from the Carolina Hurricanes for a 2025 third-round pick. And since they'd made that trade right before July 1st, he was able to sign a 7-year, $63 million contract. So that they had first dibs, and that's where he signed. Then the Los Angeles Kings acquired Tanner Jeannot from the Tampa Bay Lightning for a 2025 second-round pick and a 2024 fourth-round pick, which ended up being number 118 overall.
Having a hard time saying numbers?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, at one time, Tanner Jeannot was traded for like 7 picks.
Yeah, seriously.
So the Kings getting him for just 2 picks seems like highway robbery. And maybe that's part of they're going to do magic and bring back the guy who scored 24 goals.
Well, to be honest, Tanner Jeannot, that when the Lightning acquired him with all those picks, that was at that time everyone was saying that was a way overpayment. If I was Nashville, I would have made that trade 100 times out of 100. Getting all those picks pretty much for Tanner Jeannot. Come on, think about it. Jake Gensel went for, even though it was just the signing rights or something like that, was a 2025 third round pick.
Yeah, but that's different because he wasn't under contract, and then they had to sign him to a bunch of money, which Carolina probably wasn't worth thinking it was going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish this. All right. Tampa Bay also signed Zemgus Girgensons. How did I say that one perfectly fine? Anyway, signed a 3-year, $2.55 million contract. Victor Hedman, future captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning, maybe, agreed to terms on a 4-year, $32 million contract extension.
Before you go to the next one, you say the name, but you can't say the dang numbers.
I know. So many numbers. It's like the opposite of what you have.
I'm going to have some random numbers and have you say them so we can all laugh at you.
Please. And then we got Emil Lilleberg penned a 2-year, $1.6 million contract extension. Cam Atkinson, who was just bought out by Philly, signed a 1-year, $900,000 contract. And then J.J. Moser signed a 2-year, $6.75 million contract, and he was part of that Sergachev trade from Utah. Tampa Bay still has $730,000 in cap space available, so they're still in the green.
Well, now we're on to Canada's team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they acquired Chris Tanev from the Dallas Stars for Max Ellis and a 2026 7th-round pick. And then Tanev signed a 6-year, $27 million contract. And one thing you have to know is they're always hurting for defensemen in Toronto.
And he's a right-handed defenseman.
Yeah. Next up, Max Domi signed a 4-year, $15 million contract. And then Timothy Liljegren signed a 2-year, $6 million deal. Joseph Woll signed a 3-year, $10.98 million contract. Are they going to have him be the number one?
Could be.
Curious.
If he stays healthy.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson signed a 4-year, $14 million contract. Oh, and Anthony Stolarz signed a 2-year, $5 million contract.
Good for him.
I like Stolarz.
I've always liked him.
I mean, now you talk about goal. Here's a third goalie being signed by them. Matt Murray signed a 1-year, $875,000 contract.
If he's ever healthy.
But why sign him?
Backup?
Well, yeah.
He could play for the Marlies. Maybe.
There you go. Then I love this guy's name. Yanni Hakanpää. I didn't screw that one up. Hey, woo! We should get some clapping there. signed a 2-year, $3 million contract. And Cedric Pare signed a 1-year, $7,700. Now you got me doing it.
Good.
$775,000 contract.
You can't make fun of me now.
It's called sympathy for you. Philippe Myers signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract, and they have just under $1 million in cap space available. Now on to the Metro, Cody.
The Metro. And we're going to start off with Carolina. Jordan Martinook signed a 3-year, $9.15 million contract. Jacob Slavin signed an 8-year, $51.69 million contract extension. I don't think that's going to age well, but I like Slavin. I think he's probably the best defensive defenseman in the NHL. So, and then William Carrier signed a 6-year, $12 million contract. Tyson Yost signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract. Shane Gostisbehere signed a 3-year, $9.6 million contract. Sean Walker signed a 5-year, $18 million contract. And then Jack Roslovic inked a 1-year, $2.8 million contract. And they still got $11.6 million in cap space available. It's crazy how much they still have available.
And they signed 3 defensemen, 2 of them being new players.
Well, think about it, they lost Pesci and Brady Shea.
2 very good defensemen. All right, on to Columbus. The St. Louis Blues acquired Alexandre Texier from the Columbus Blue Jackets for a 2025 4th-round pick. Now, here's a contract I'm not sure was a good signing by Columbus. I think he's a pretty good player, but I think it's too much money. Sean Monahan signed a 5-year, $27.5 million contract.
I agree.
Jack Johnson signed a 1-year, ex-King, by the way, and he was a draft pick for the Kings, signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract. Jet Greaves signed a 2-year, $1.625 million contract, and Columbus still has just a little over $17 million in cap space. So they got room to still pick up some more players.
Mm-hmm. All right. New Jersey. Thomas Tatar signed a 1-year, $1.8 million contract, so he goes back to New Jersey. Stefan Nosen signed a 3-year, $8.25 million contract. Brendan Dillon signed a 3-year, $12 million contract. And here's someone that we just talked about that used to play in Carolina. Brett Pesci signed a 6-year, $33 million contract. And then the New Jersey Devils acquired Jonathan Kovacic from the Montreal Canadiens for a 2026 4th-round pick. And also the Vegas Golden Knights acquired Alexander Holt and Akira Schmid from the New Jersey Devils for Paul Cotter and a 2025 3rd-round pick, which I thought that was a stupid move from New Jersey to do this. But anyways, New Jersey still has $4.9 million in cap space.
On to the Big Apple and the New York Islanders. Mike Riley inked a 1-year, $1.25 million contract. Anthony Duclair, he's a tough guy too, agreed to terms on a 4-year, $14 million contract. Frederick Karlstrom signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract, and they have just under $1.1 million in cap space.
Duclair is someone that you love to have on your team and you hate playing against him. I swear, anytime he plays against the Ducks, you could just mark him for put a goal.
Put a goal.
The Ducks already
it's funny how guys will pick on one team.
Yeah. Well, he was when he was with the Coyotes, oh my God, he just drove us nuts. Anyways, on to the next team, the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers acquired Riley Smith from the Pittsburgh Penguins for a 2027 second-round pick and a conditional 2025 fifth-round pick. I don't know what the condition is. I'll have to double-check that. Former Duck Benoit Olivier Gueux signed a 1-year, 2-way contract. That's the only one I added just because he was a former Duck.
Otherwise, his name was Bogru. They never called him by his full name. It was always Bogru.
It was Bogru. Casey Fitzgerald secured a 2-year, $1.55 million contract. Sam Carrick, former Duck, former captain of the Goals, secured a 3-year, $3 million contract. Good for him. I'm happy he got along.
Wasn't he the all-time leading scorer in goals history?
Was.
Yeah,
I think he just got passed up.
Yeah, he just got beat last year by
Chase DeLeo.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Braden Schneider signed a 2-year, $4.4 million contract. And New York is still has $5.1 million in cap space.
Now on to the city of brotherly love, the Philadelphia Flyers. Garnett Hathaway signed a 2-year, $4.8 million extension. Eric Johnson signed a 1-year, $1 million contract. Matvei Michkov signed a 3-year entry-level contract.
Matvei Michkov.
Matvei? Sorry.
Matvei.
Okay. Matvei Michkov. So maybe I won't screw that up next time. Mm-hmm. But he would have been like second in the draft if he wasn't Russian and playing in the KHL. He went 7th of the Flyers, and within a year they picked him up. Somebody had to buy him out of the KHL.
He had to buy himself out.
Well, he'll make that up easy in the NHL. Yeah. Bobby Brink signed a 2-year, $3 million contract. Yegor Zamula signed a 2-year, $3.4 million contract. Philadelphia has no money left. In fact, send that $829,000 check made out to Gary Spink, and I'll send you the address.
Dad, they're already in the negative. I don't think they need to be more in the negative by sending you a check.
Well, they owe me money.
Oh,
okay. They owe me money right there.
I don't think that's how it works. Anyways,
it works for me.
Pittsburgh, even though we just talked about this trade, they acquired a 2027 second-round pick and a conditional 2025 fifth-round pick from the Rangers for Riley Smith. Matt Grzelcyk signed a 1-year, $2.75 million contract. That was another player that Boston lost. Anthony Beauvillier inked a 1-year, $1.25 million contract. Sebastian Aho, and it's not the same Sebastian Aho that plays in Carolina or anything. They're not related in any way. They played different positions and everything. This is the defenseman. He agreed to terms on a 2-year, $1.55 million contract.
Because that would have been a steal for the other Sebastian Aho.
A steal. Yeah, that would have been...
I mean, highway robbery is what it would be.
Oh, yeah. Emil Benstrom signed a 1-year, $775,000 contract. Blake Lizotte agreed to terms on a 2-year, $3.7 million. And Pittsburgh still has just over $3.5 million available.
Okay. Now we're going to Washington.
Probably the team that made probably the most moves in this so far this off.
I think they're possibly playoff bound. Anyways, the Washington Capitals acquired Logan Thompson from the Vegas Golden Knights for a 2024 third-round pick, which was number 83, and a 2025 third-round pick. I think they robbed Vegas. I know Vegas.
I still feel so bad for Logan Thompson because when this deal happened, since the draft was in Vegas, Logan, I guess if you play for Vegas, you have to do, it's in your contract where you have to do some sort like autograph signings from time to time. So he was literally at the draft doing signatures at the draft when this deal happened. So he found out while he was doing autographs. and he was still there signing autographs for fans after being traded. So technically, he didn't even have to stay there after he got traded because that's a deal that he has with Vegas, not with Washington. So he could have just gone up and left, but no, he stayed there and kept signing and everything.
Shows that he's a class act.
Yes.
Don't disappoint the fans. Good job, Logan. Shout out to Logan Thompson for that guy. The Washington Capitals also acquired Jacob Chikrin. We did talk about this with the Ottawa Senators. They traded Nick Jensen and a 2026 third-round pick for him. I mean, you got starting goalkeeper and a number one defenseman. They signed Ethan Frank to a 2-year, $1.55 million contract. And here's a big one. I think he's probably in the top 15 of defensive defensemen in hockey. Matt Roy from the Kings signed a 6-year, $34.5 million contract. You wondered why the Kings couldn't do it? They just couldn't afford him. They would have signed him in a second if they could have kept him. But they just didn't have the money to do it. Connor McMichael also signed a 2-year contract extension for $4.2 million. Taylor Radish signed a 1-year, $1 million contract. And Brandon Duhaime signed a 2-year, $3.7 million contract. Oh my God! Well, they are. In fact, never mind.
No. You got your last one.
Money.
I get this one.
Washington.
Send it to Cody.
Send your overpayment on your cap space, $14,170,001 in money payable to Cody Spink, and we'll give you the address later. The address for that later.
Yep.
And that is the update on free agents for the Eastern Conference. We will be doing the Western Conference later. Now it's what?
Hold on. Before we move on, who's your winner and losers in the Eastern Conference?
Well, I think the Washington Capitals are winners, for one, for sure. I'm just glancing at them right now.
I know, I'm doing the same.
You know, they didn't do a whole lot, but, I mean, Toronto got Tanev. And I think he might be a difference maker for them, just to get them at least out of the first round into the competitive second round.
I would say my winners are Washington, but let's see what they can do after getting back. As soon as they get back into the positive side of the salary cap.
Yeah. Well, they got to make some trades.
And then New Jersey.
New Jersey did a good job.
They got Markstrom. They got they need defense. They got Pesci and Dillon. And they also.
We didn't have Markstrom in the this one because we've done it prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I'd forgot about Markstrom. They got Pesci.
Toronto, they did well. Honestly, I think one for me might be Tampa Bay. Might be a loser. I think no for loser.
You don't like Jake Gensel?
I don't like the. I mean, the deal might work out, but they lost Sergachev. They lost Stamkos, which we'll talk about next week.
Yeah.
So
that'd be a team that'd be right up at the top where Stamkos went.
And and they're getting older. Detroit did well. Buffalo, Yeah. Boston could have done a little bit more too, but they already have a pretty deep lineup-ish.
Yeah.
So
if something happens to Swayman, they're in trouble.
All right. So in the Atlantic last year, we had Florida, Boston, Tampa, and Toronto in the playoffs. Do you think that's going to change anything, or any of those four teams staying or not making it for the playoffs next year?
So Atlantic and Florida is going to stay there for sure. I think Tampa Bay might be out. Detroit looks pretty tough.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Detroit and Tampa. I would like to see Buffalo in the playoffs at least. Hopefully they can end their playoff drought. But
well, poor Buffalo. It's like the football team gets halfway good and then they fall apart.
Yeah.
And now hockey.
All right. And then in the Metro, they had Carolina, the Islanders, the Rangers, and Washington make the playoffs last year. Do you think any of that's going to change after any of these offseason moves? I think Washington cemented their playoff return.
I do.
Rangers, I think, are back in. Carolina's probably back in. But I think Islanders are out and New Jersey's in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Totally.
So let's do your trivia real quick before we do the... let's do the thing first. All right, guys.
So what was it, about a month ago? Cody and I
About-
had a draft on the podcast. Current 2024 NHL players. We did a snake draft. I picked first, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you have your team still? That we can do like a quick recap of the teams.
I had, yes, my number one line was Hyman, McDavid, Kucherov. My second line was Panarin, Matthews, and Nylander. My third line was Kaprizov, Reinhart, and Marner. My fourth line was Pratt, Miller, and Kempe. My D was Hughes and Fox, Heiskanen and Bouchard, and Morrissey and Dobson. And my goalkeepers, to look for my other notes, didn't I have Deshurkin?
Yeah, you had Shurkin, yeah.
Deshurkin and Bobrovsky. How about you?
I'm looking for mine.
I did good. No picking on me for names next week, right?
I don't know why I can't find it. I can't find my team.
I didn't write your team down.
I can't find it. All right. Anyways, I could probably pull up on the game and stuff like that. But all right. Game number 1. Since you had the first pick in the draft, I got home ice advantage. First game, the Anaheim Cody's beat the LA Garys 4-3 in game 1. In the first period, we had David Pastrnak and Leon Draisaitl score to make it 2-0. And then the second period, the Garys tied it up. I'm just saying the Kings to make it easier. The Kings score 2 goals in the second, with Matthews and Reinhart scoring those 2 goals. And then the third period, we had Roman Josi and Jason Robertson scoring 2, with William Nylander scoring the third goal for the Kings to make it 4-3 for the Ducks. So I took game 1. The 3 stars of the game were Pastrnak had a goal and assist for the third star. For the second star was Roman Josi with also a goal and assist. And then Draisaitl had the number 1 star with a goal and assist, but 3 hits.
So, guys, this is the first time I've gotten to hear all the details.
Yeah.
I knew the results, but I didn't get all the details. So I'm listening in on this just as much as you are.
And the shots were pretty close, too. 37 shots for the Ducks, 35 shots for the Kings. Game 2. The Kings won 6-2 to tie the series up at 1-1. 40 shots for the Kings, 33 shots for the Ducks. Kaprizov started off the scoring in the first period. And then JT Miller scored the second goal to make it 2-0 after the first period. In the second period, we had a lot of scoring. Matthew Tkachuk scored for the Ducks to make it 2-1. And then 3 straight goals from your team with Nylander, Matthews, and the Nylander to make it 5-1. Going into the third. And then in the third period, you had Jason Robertson scoring the second goal. And then Matthews again scored the 6th goal in the third period to ice the game. And that one, Shesterkin was the third star with a 2 goals against average, 31 saves with a 9.39 save percentage. Nylander had 2 goals, 1 assist, and 4 hits for the second star. And Austin Matthews had 2 goals, 2 assists, and a hit for the number 1 star.
Yay. Now we're
Third
tied
game.
1-1.
Tied 1-1 going to LA. This game was another good game, but for one team. The Ducks. So my team won 3-0.
Wow.
The Ducks had 40 shots. The Kings had 27 shots. We had Matthew Tkachuk scoring in the first period, Victor Hedman scoring in the second period, and then Brady Tkachuk scoring in the third period. Hedman was the third star of the game with 1 goal and 2 hits. Matthew Tkachuk was the second star with 1 goal and 3 hits. And the number 1 star was Vasilevsky. I don't know why. I tried to have Hellenbuck as my starter, but it kept switching to Vasilevsky, but I ain't mad with either one, to be honest. He had the shutout with 27 saves for the number 1 star. All right. And this one I think I accidentally messed up on game 3. You might want to tally because I probably won't remember.
Okay.
So in the first period,
You're talking game 4 now?
this is game first period, Kaprizov scored for you. Then Panarin scored for you. And then Mikko Rantanen scored for me. Second period, Nathan MacKinnon scored for me. Miro Heiskanen scored for you. Kaprizov scored for you. And then Matthew Tkachuk scored for me. And then Panarin scored for you. And then McKinnon scored for me. So what's the score so far?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 1, 2, 3. I may have missed one on you.
So I think I should have 1, 2,
What was
3. I think I should have 4 total.
Yeah, after Kaprizov, I didn't catch who you said.
Tkachuk again, or you said after Kaprizov?
Yeah, in the second period.
And then you had Panarin, and then I had McKinnon. I think it should be what?
5-4.
5-4. And that's after 2 periods. In the third period, Philip Forsberg scored for me to tie it. And we go into overtime for game 4, and Austin Matthews scores the overtime winner for the LA Garys to tie the series 2-2.
LA Kings.
In that one, we had Austin Matthews as the third star with 1 goal, 1 assist, and 1 hit. Kaprizov as the second star with 2 goals, 0 assists, and 1 hit. And the number 1 star is Panarin with 2 goals and 1 assist. And then...
So we're tied at 2?
Tied at 2 going to game 5. All right, this one we had... Do we have any first period? No first period goals. No first period goals. And it's a high-scoring game.
Really?
Yeah. for no goals in the first period. My team won 5-4. My team had 41 shots. Yours had 28. William Nylander started off the scoring in the second. Then Sidney Crosby scored. For me. Nikita Kucherov and Connor McDavid scored back-to-back goals for you.
So I'm up 3-1, and then I lose?
Yeah, because then my team scores 3 straight goals. Or we scored 2 straight goals in the second period from Pasternak and Rantanen. And then I have Brock Besser score to start the third period. And then I had Leon Draisaitl score. And then William Nylander score.
What was the final?
5-4. My team. So my team now, after 5 games, leads 3-2. And in this game, we had the third star was Leon Draisaitl with 1 goal, 2 hits. William Nylander is the second star with 2 goals and 2 hits. And then Mikko Rantanen was the number 1 star with 1 goal, 1 assist, and 3 hits. So then we shift.
So I got my back to the wall.
You got your back to the wall. But never fear, series is going to game 7. Because your team won game 6 4-1.
Finally, Deshurkin showed up.
Yeah. And Vasilevsky did not. Let's just put it that way. So Victor Hedman started off the scoring for my team in the first period. That was the only goal in the first period. So there was 4 unanswered goals. You had Panarin and then Jesper Bratt scoring in the second period, and then Reinhart and McDavid scoring in the third period. So you guys won 4-1. You guys had 35 shots. My team only had 28. And then Jesper Bratt was the third star. Panarin was the second star. Or sorry, Jesper Bratt had 1 goal, 0 assists, and 0 hits as the third star. Panarin was the second star with 1 goal, 1 assist, and Shesterkin was the number 1 with only giving up 1 goal with 27 saves. So now we move on to
Game 7.
Game 7. Okay.
Ooh,
First period.
blue.
I'm not going to tell you what the final score is.
Okay.
Game 7, first period. Jason Robertson starts the scoring off to make it 1-0 Ducks. And the second period, Quinn Hughes scores for the LA Kings to make it 1-1. And then Jason Robertson again scores in the second period to make it 2-1, going into the last period of Game 7. Okay? So it's 2-1 Ducks, but Nikita Kucherov scores a goal to tie it 2-2. And then Nikita Kucherov again scores to make it 3-2. And then, Mikko Rantanen ties it up 3-3. And we go to overtime for Game 7. In overtime, and at the 10-minute mark, who do you think scores?
I think I know.
You know?
I think I know.
Who do you think?
Reinhart scores.
Wrong. Zach Hyman from the LA Kings scores the overtime winner in Game 7 to take the final. So your team wins 4-3 with a 4-3 overtime win in Game 7. Total shots 31 each.
Oof. Very good game.
Very good game.
Well, kind of figured it should be a good series.
Yeah.
I don't think you and I think a lot alike when it comes to hockey, so although we both miss players.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So who are the stars of the game?
That one didn't have the stars of the, or did it have stars of the game?
I don't know.
No, it didn't give me stars of the game. Or maybe I forgot to take a picture. But your Conn Smythe winner is Sam Reinhart from the LA Kings with 2 goals and 7 assists for 9 points with 8 hits, and he was a +4 for the series.
So the guy who wins the Conn Smythe wasn't even on your list to pick, was he? I remember having the conversation when we were doing the draft, and I said to him, you went, oh, I didn't even have him on my list.
I know.
But I know I did that to you once or twice too. There were you picked someone. I go, I didn't even think about them.
Yeah.
So I'm 2-0 on the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, go Kings! Go Kings! Go Kings!
Oh, what does this button do? Oh, it mutes you. Oh, I like that button. I'm just kidding.
Can I mute you?
No.
Oh, you got control, huh?
I have control of this. I'm the director of this.
I know.
But at least you know I don't play favorites, and these are fair games. Man, but another way for my team to lose in ordinary Ducks fashion, where we have a 3-2 series lead. It happened in our all-time Ducks versus Kings series. It happened in this. It happens in real life. Can I just catch a frickin' break?
Maybe Beckett Seneca is going to score the game-winning goal in Game 7 when you guys were down 3-2.
I don't even want it to go to Game 7. The Ducks need to win just Game 6 at home.
Sorry, Cody. Well, that was fun.
You laugh at my pain.
I do. Well, I feel pretty good because I'm 2-0. I'm sure that's not going to stay. I'm going to lose here soon.
All right, so guys, please be on the lookout for an Indeed post for a new Royally Quacked co-host position. I'm gonna be looking for a new a Kings insider. So if you guys are available, please send in your resume to at royallyquacked@gmail.com.
That's fun.
Oh,
That was fun.
that
Oh,
was,
do we have trivia this week?
oh right. Okay.
It's
We've
your turn
I,
to stump me, which is probably not going to be that hard.
let's see. Oh, please don't tell me I lost it. Okay. Which team did the Kings face in their very first NHL game?
It wasn't the Flyers, Philadelphia Flyers.
It was the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, they were both expansion teams.
Good job.
Kings made and as an expansion team, the Kings made the playoffs that year.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that hard with 12 teams.
Still, they were playing with a bunch of guys, most of them who hadn't been great NHL players. I mean, some of the names if you see them, you'd never heard of them. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. It's about that time.
It is.
So, guys, thank you again for helping us get to 500 downloads and helping us get to episode 20. I hope you guys are happy to finally hear the results of our Cody versus Gary Ducks and Kings game. I hope you guys enjoyed it because I literally simmed through the first 6 games. And when it went to game 7, I was like, okay, I have to watch. I watched it like an actual game. And I was literally on the edge of my seat watching the last period for sure.
You should have videoed that so I could watch it. It would have been fun.
I don't know if we're gonna. If I don't know. I got to see if I can find it if that's a way to do it on the game.
It would be fun.
Yeah,
we could do a replay right on the podcast.
Yeah, put some of the highlights from the goals and everything. I don't know how that works exactly, but thank you again, everyone, for listening to Royally Quack. Again, please tell your family, friends, dogs, pets, cats, neighbor, co-workers to listen to our podcast. If they're just Ducks, Kings, or any kind of hockey fan, we're open to other teams too. So thank you again. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Royally Quack. And please, again, don't forget to follow our Discord. It's also on our link tree. You can that's where you can access everything right there. Again, thank you guys, everyone, for helping us get this far.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it.
You don't know how much fun this is to do for us. Cody and I have been blessed to be able to do a lot of things together as father and son.
It sucks sometimes.
We used to umpire a lot together, and we did have fun.
The first year, no, it was not fun.
No, that's because you needed to learn, buddy. Because you were still he was 15 when he first started, so he was very young to do that, and it was our name was out there, and I wanted him to never have, oh God, it's that Spink kid again. I worked him hard. I didn't do it in a mean way. I don't think I did it in a mean way. I did it in a loving way. Yeah, I was, but I was hard enough. Look how good you got.
No, I know.
Because our friend Eric, we've talked about him. I mean, he went to pro camp. He was a way better umpire than I've ever been.
Both of us.
And he saw the potential in you. In fact, I think that one time in West Covina, we went and ate, and he talked to you about going to pro school.
Yeah.
So, and he still thinks about you and cares about you because he's one of our listeners, and we appreciate you supporting us, Eric, so much. I hope you like the rant. It's probably only going to get crazier because I'm going to go really mad next time. I think it won't be every week because this is the off season. We'll have some off season stuff we're going to do.
Yeah.
We haven't decided exactly when that's going to be, what it's going to be, but hopefully you can stay tuned. And
I think it's funny how he's told you to go on a rant because I've been on a few rants on this with the Ducks.
Yeah, but he gave us some great stuff for us to improve our podcast. And, and you guys are our listeners. So help us out.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something we're doing wrong, or you think we're doing wrong,
Or something we're missing.
or something that we're doing very, very well, and you want to compliment us. I mean, it's sometimes getting a little bit of both of that makes it a better podcast. So we do appreciate you. We love you guys. We hope you're listening in. Come Monday morning at 7 a.m. when this goes on to the podcast thing.
Mm-hmm.
And look forward to next week.
Yep.
All right. Well,
And
signing off.
Oh, wait, before we
Wait.
go off, please
Yeah.
rate and review us on your podcast platform, please.
Yeah.
And any new reviews, if they're good, I will definitely for sure read them on the podcast.
Even if they're bad, we'll read them on the podcast. It's okay.
Make it funny if you do, though. That'd be funny. I'd like that.
Sometimes I'm funny and I don't want to be,
I'm
especially saying names. I'm funny when I'm not. I can't say their names right. So,
Yeah.
other than that, go
All right.
Kings, go.
Let's go Ducks. We'll see you guys next week.
Later, guys.